Kales and I read 13 books in the month of June, so this is gonna be a long video. Yeah, I'm not kidding when I said I read 13 books, 14 books in the month of June, and only 3 of them were graphic novels. So get ready for a long video. We're just gonna dive right in and get started. Except I do want to warn one thing. I'm gonna say this. So some people on Twitter noticed that I'm currently on a Rosolian Isles spree and reading a bunch of shit books by contestants on The Bachelor. I have reasons for this. One, with the Rosolian Isles, I'm just kind of obsessed and binge reading that right now. The Bachelor one is for research, okay? I'm not gonna talk about what research, but it's just research right now, okay? It's not pleasure reading or anything, and I'm not saying that because I really don't give a damn what you guys think about my reading and everything, but I just, in case anybody was like, what happened? It's research, okay? It's research. So I'm gonna blaze through as much of those as possible because they're not that big of a deal. But I'm counting them because I did spend time reading them. Or whatever, we're just gonna get to it. Okay, so I gotta tell you about the worst book I've read in 2018 so far, and it's called The Fandom by Anna Day. And it originally had like this cool concept where 4 friends go to Comic-Con dressed up in cosplay as their favorite fandom, and they get suddenly transported into the reality of the fandom, and they're trying to stay on canon, and they accidentally kill the main character, and it's kind of like The Wizard of Oz, but it was lame as F. Like, it was so stupid. I got nothing, guys, except that this was just awful. Don't waste your time. Just not worth it. Really dumb. Like, I'm just not about it. At all. I did read Briefcases by Jim Butcher, and this was the coolest thing because Jim Butcher actually now lives in Colorado, and he came to an event at the bookstore, and I got to be in conversation with him. I got to ask all of the questions, and I got to talk to him, and I got to meet him. I didn't get my book signed, which is stupid, but I got to have a conversation with him, and it was the coolest thing. Anyway, this is Briefcases, which is a collection of short stories from the Dresden Files, and it was awesome. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because I love the Dresden Files so much, and it's such a great series, and this is an awesome addition to it. I really, really wish that we got the next book. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Jim, write it now, please, and thanks. Bye. Please excuse my copy of this book. It was free, the cover was ripped off, but I read Drama, which is by Raina Telgemeier, and she was coming to Denver Comic-Con, and so I wanted to read a book by her, and I picked up Drama, and this was adorable. It was great. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just perfect for a theater nerd. You know, it's great little art, and the plot's kind of simple. It's got great LGBTQ representation in it, which is awesome, and it was cute. It was great. Yay, Raina Telgemeier, and you're moving forward in graphic novel world for middle grade. Then I read The Bells by Dhonielle Clayton, and this was actually recommended to me a very long time ago by Sonia Manon, and I gave this book a 2 out of 5 stars. I don't know how to describe this book to anyone because I didn't enjoy it, guys, and I don't quite know what to do about that. I mean, it was fine. It just, I didn't like it. Like, I found myself just dragging through it. And I remember listening to the audiobook, and I just was like, I don't understand what's going on. These character motivations are weird, and like, I just didn't get it. It made no sense to me in a lot of the characters' choices. I was like, why did you do the heart? This would have been so, it wasn't my kind of cup of tea. And the ending was stupid and predictable, and I have no care to finish this series at all. Then I read A Reaper at the Gates. Talk about a mind, like, really, guys, this one, if you haven't read An Ember in the Ashes, go back and read that, then read A Torch Against the Night, then read this insanity. It was very Sarah J. Maas in that she had the 3 plot lines of the characters going in and out and interweaving, and it seems to be a weird formatting trend in YA right now. especially YA fantasy, which is fine. It's good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think it didn't hit me as much. I feel like it was 100 pages too long. It's at like 5 something, 6 something, 4 something. I don't know, this is the ARC version of it. And I really, like I said, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. So good. Can't wait for the 4th book. It just wasn't my favorite installment. I still think that the development of the characters is great. I was like in tears by the end of it. So I'm still really excited. So please don't take anything that I have to say. If anything, it's just actually really picky. Still, the writing is delicious and the characters are awesome. Helene is just the badass that I want to be. It's awesome. Here we come to some of the Bachelor books. For the Right Reasons by Sean Lowe. See, research, guys. There are tabs here. There are tabs for research. Yeah, this was fine. Sean Lowe is probably the best Bachelor that the show has ever had, considering he's the only one who is still married and engaged to the first woman he picked out of 20-something seasons. He's a nice guy. It was cool to learn about all the behind-the-scenes stuff. I liked it. It was sweet. I just gave it a 3 out of 5 stars because it was fine. Then I read It's Not Okay by Andi Dorfman, and this one just actually sucked because at least some of the other Bachelor books that I read were decently written. This was just like a terrible diary about complaining and like trying to be helpful, and I got nothing good to say about it, so whatever. Continuing on, I Said Yes, which is the next Bachelor one by Emily Maynard, which thought it was being cute because it was like, oh, I said yes to 2 proposals when I wasn't ready, and then I said yes to God, and then everything worked. No judgment, it just was like a really cheesy book. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Because again, there were some great things. You know, actually it was really interesting learning about her background before The Bachelor, because her big sob story was that her fiance died and then she, in a terrible plane crash, and then she found out she was pregnant, and so she had Ricky, and you know, this being a single mom and all that jazz. So, I mean, that was actually the most interesting part of that for me. The next Bachelor book I got is I Didn't Come Here to Make Friends by Courtney Robinson, and I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars, and I'll tell you why. Because it is by far the most entertaining out of all the ones I've read, except there was a heck of a lot of TMI on both ends. TMI in that too much information about the reality show that was actually really interesting, and then too much information that I just like really didn't need about like Fantasy Suite and skinny dipping and her sexual awakening. I just didn't need it. I was like, nah, okay, I'm good. But it was by far the most entertaining and snarky one of the bunch, and I was down for it. I was highly entertained. So at least, other than the other ones which were just dull, this one I at least laughed, and I found myself like wanting to read more of it. It was like a good, juicy piece of... It's Bachelor. It like just fit. Then I read Bachelor Nation by Amy Kaufman, and I gotta say this book was way overhyped for what it was advertised as. It was not as juicy as like people thought. Like, you can look up on the internet half the crap she puts in here, or just watch Unreal. Like, just, I mean, I will say, I did like that she treated it like a thesis statement, and that was a nonfiction part of it. I also liked the sections in here from celebrities and other reality show stars of like, why do we watch The Bachelor, and why is this show still on despite the fact that it like statistically fails, and what is it doing to the generation and this idea of romance, and why do we keep coming back for more? I did like that aspect. It was like a thesis or a dissertation, just not the best one ever. So yeah, again, it's like highlighted, it's research, guys, but I mean, it was 2 out of 5 stars. It's fine. I think that's it on Bachelor books. So moving on to like other books. This was an amazing book. I read this, it was 5 out of 5 stars. The Word is Murder by Anthony Horowitz. Guys, this book is amazing. It's out. This is an ARC version, but it's already out. It came out in June, and it's amazing. I loved this book. I don't know why, but like for some reason, maybe it's like Small Town Murder to blame or Rosalind Isles, but like this mystery, weird mystery kick I'm on, this one was so good and right up my alley with this metafictional stuff, because Anthony Horowitz puts himself as a character in here writing about a mystery that happened as he follows a detective that he used on a consultation on movies, and himself as a character, and you get a weird scene with Peter Jackson and Steven Spielberg, and it's very Sherlockian, but modern with different characters and just writers, and this is my kind of book. This jumps right up there with some of my favorite books I've read this year. 2 more graphic novels that I read. Roller Girl, which was, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I loved Roller Girl. This made me like want to go be and do roller derby, which I've never had an interest in before. But one of my favorite things about this book that I have to say is that the main character, Astrid, went through a bunch of up and downs, and she started out being really terrible at roller derby. And here's the thing, over the course of her like summer camp that she did, she doesn't necessarily get better, and the author actually goes through panels and shows how much torture roller derby is and how much Astrid had to try, and like just how much work she had to put in it. There was like no montaging it, and I really appreciated that. I thought it was great, and the art is fun, and it's a great story. Just another awesome middle grade read. This one wasn't my favorite middle grade read that I read, middle grade graphic novel, but Be Prepared is fun. And this was like her adventures at Russian camp and like wanting to go to summer camp. Now here's the thing, I think I didn't like this one as much because I never went to summer camp. I find nothing about that appealing. Like I never wanted to go as a kid. My mom always offered, can go to Bible camp, can go to sleepaway camp. I didn't want any of it. I wanted to do shows. I wanted to be in theater, and that's what I did. And I took classes, but I never did like this sleepaway outhouse camp friendship bracelets bunk beds thing. I didn't do it, and so I think it was a little hard for me to relate to it, but for middle readers I think it's a great book for young girls wanting to go to summer camp and learn about themselves, and you know, learning how to try and do things and be brave and outside your comfort zone. So I like that, but I didn't relate to it because I was like, why are you torturing yourself? This seems so silly to me. Finally, the last book that I read was Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman, and a lot of people are gonna be like, why did you read this book? I thought you didn't like Scythe. And that's not true. I gave Scythe a 3 out of 5 stars, and you guys have to remember that 3 out of 5 stars are like, I liked it. I thought it was and I gotta be honest with you, I couldn't quite get the world out of my head. And I got a free copy of this arc, actually, even though it came out in January. And I was just like, I'll just see what happens. And here's the thing. This ending was like, what? I also feel like this one could have been about 100 pages shorter. It also got a 3 out of 5 stars for me. I will say that ending was one of the weirdest and most jarring cliffhangers I've ever read. And it was still really good, but to me, it deviated from what Scythe was. I'll be interested. I'm gonna read the 3rd book now because I'm kind of invested, but it's kind of still like the selection for me. It's not something that I'm like dying and drooling over like an Ember in the Ashes series, but I still like it, and I get why people like it. That's the other thing, is that like, oh, I understand why this is popular. It just doesn't quite hit the nail on the head for me. I still like it. I'm continuing the series, which says something, because you guys know me. If I don't want to read it, I'm not gonna read it. Those were the 14 books that I read in the month of June. Here are some of them. Boom! Here we go. Ta-da! I did it! We have like a red, white, and black theme going on here, and a little bit of green. So yes, this is my June wrap-up. That's what this video is. I'm gonna try and be on more track, but I feel like every time I say that, I don't get there. So we're just gonna do videos when I can do videos. I'm trying really, really hard. This is heavy, so I'm gonna put it down now. But yeah, if you guys have any comments about these particular books that I read, let me know down in the comments below. You guys know I always love a good conversation. So yeah, until next time, guys, bye. My hair is messed up. My hair.